I remember the rain pounding like fists on the car roof, my screams swallowed by the storm as another contraction ripped through me. Blood pooled warm and sticky between my thighs, the baby, our baby, kicking desperately against the walls of my dying body. And him? My husband, Ethan, the man I'd loved for 8 years, had sprinted off into the ER doors without a backward glance, yelling over his shoulder that he'd get help. But we both knew he was running from the mess he'd made of us. That's when the world blurred to black, my last thought a venomous whisper. You bastard, you'll pay for this. But death isn't the end, it's a goddamn reset button. I woke up gasping in that same godforsaken SUV, 9 months pregnant again, the rain just starting to spit against the windshield. It was 3 hours before the worst of it, and this time, I wasn't screaming for mercy. I was plotting his funeral. The clock on the dash glowed 10:47 p.m., same as before. Chicago's Loop was a neon blur outside, the magnificent miles holiday lights mocking me with their festive glow. Last time, we'd been rushing to Northwestern Memorial after my water broke in the middle of a holiday party at his firm's downtown office. Ethan, the golden boy partner at Blackwell & Sons, had been 3 whiskeys deep, charming clients while I waddled around like a bloated penguin in a rented gown that pinched my swollen ankles. Just a few more handshakes, babe, he'd murmured, his breath hot with bourbon and lies. By the time we piled into the Escalade, the contractions were coming fast, but traffic was a nightmare. Holiday gridlock, ambulances blaring, everyone late for their own disasters. I'd begged him to call ahead, to floor it through the yellows, but no. Ethan had glanced at me, sweat beading on his forehead not from worry but from the cocaine-laced high he'd chased in the executive bathroom earlier. Hang in there, Nora. We're almost. A horn blared as he swerved, clipping a cab, and the jolt sent me into a fresh wave of agony. By the garage entrance, I was delirious, the baby crowning too soon, my body betraying me on the leather seats that reeked of his cologne, and my fear sweat. Go. Get a doctor. I'd gasped, shoving him toward the door. And he did, straight into the arms of Dr. Lauren Hale, the obstetrician who'd been his mistress for 6 months. I didn't know that then, but the pieces clicked in the afterlife haze. The late nights at the office, the hushed calls, the way he'd flinch when I touched his phone. Lauren had been there that night, waiting in the shadows of the ER lobby, her white coat a flag of surrender for his infidelity. He chose her over me, over us, vanishing into the hospital while I bled out alone, the baby slipping silent and still into the world at 11:02 p.m. Now, reborn in this hellish loop, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. My name is Nora Hayes, 32, former graphic designer turned stay-at-home mom-to-be, and apparently, a ghost with a grudge. The pain was already building, a dull throb low in my belly, but I wasn't panicking. Not this time. I reached for my phone, the one he'd upgraded last month with tracking software he thought I didn't know about. One tap, and I had Lauren's number pulled up from his call log saved under Dr. Patel, the sneaky prick. I hit dial, my voice steady as steel when she answered on the second ring. Lauren? It's Nora Hayes, Ethan's wife. Get your ass to the hospital garage now. Level B2. And bring a crash cart. I'm about to deliver your lover's child in his SUV. There was a beat of stunned silence, then her professional mask cracked. Nora? What? Oh God, is everything okay? I'm on my way. Lies. I could hear the tremor, the calculation. She was probably already there, sipping Chardonnay with the nurses who'd cover for her shifts. I hung up, tossing the phone into the cup holder. The first real contraction hit like a freight train, but I breathed through it, eyes locked on the rear view where Ethan's reflection would be if he weren't still schmoozing upstairs. No. He was in the party now, laughing at some junior associate's joke, his hand probably lingering too long on Lauren's waist. The betrayal burned hotter than the pain. 8 years of building a life, from our cramped Wrigleyville apartment to the Lakeview condo in Streeterville, all funded by his climb up the legal ladder. I'd quit my job at the ad agency to support him, to play the perfect wife, and what did I get? A secret affair with the doctor who was supposed to deliver our son, and abandonment in a puddle of my own amniotic fluid. But secrets have a way of festering. In that void between death and rebirth, fragments had surfaced. Ethan's not just a cheater. He's dirty. Embezzlement from the firm, siphoning client funds into offshore accounts to bankroll his coke habit and Lauren's taste for designer heels. And the baby? DNA tests he'd buried showed it wasn't his. Some one-night stand from a conference in Vegas, a drunken lapse I'd confessed in tears months ago, begging forgiveness. He'd stayed for the optics, the family man image that sealed his partnership. But when push came to shove, he bolted, leaving me to die so he could rewrite the narrative. Tragic widow, Lauren as the sympathetic shoulder. The elevator dinged in the distance, and my heart, reborn and ruthless, thudded with anticipation. Footsteps echoed down the ramp, hurried heels clicking. Lauren emerged from the shadows, her blonde bob plastered by the sudden downpour, medical bag slung over her shoulder. She froze when she saw me, door open, legs splayed awkwardly on the seat, skirt hiked up like a war flag. "Nora," she breathed, rushing forward. "Ethan said you were." "Ethan said jack shit because he's too busy screwing you in his head to notice his wife's in labor." The words sliced out, sharper than any scalpel she wielded. Her eyes widened, green and guilty, as she dropped to her knees beside the car door. "Let me help. Just breathe." She reached for me, gloved hands efficient, but I grabbed her wrist, nails digging in. "Help? Like you helped him bury our marriage? Or like you'll help him cover up the $2.3 million he's stolen from Blackwell?" Her face drained of color. Confirmation enough. I'd pieced it from his browser history in the void. Transfers to a Cayman account, emails coded as consulting fees. Lauren wasn't just the other woman. She was his money laundress, routing funds through her charity clinic in Pilsen. "You don't know what you're talking about," she hissed, yanking free to check my dilation. "Push on the next one." The heads crowning. I laughed, a jagged sound amid the rain. "Oh, I know plenty. And by morning, so will the FBI." Another contraction, and I bore down. The burn exquisite, a reminder I was alive. Fiercely, vengefully so. The baby slid into her waiting hands, a boy, slick and squalling, his cry piercing the storm like justice. She wrapped him in her coat, eyes darting to the garage exit where Ethan's footsteps now thundered down. "Nora, please. We can talk." "Talk." I snatched the baby to my chest, his warmth grounding me. "You two talked enough behind my back. Now it's my turn to monologue." As Ethan burst into view, soaked and wild-eyed, I hit record on my phone, propped against the dash. "Smile, honey. You're on candid camera." He skidded to a halt, face crumpling from confusion to horror. "Nora?" "The baby's, holy shit, it's a boy." But his eyes flicked to Lauren, then the blood-streaked seats, calculating the optics. "Get in the car," I snapped, voice ice. "We're going home. All of us." He obeyed, sliding into the passenger seat, oblivious to the digital noose tightening. Lauren hovered, bag in hand, but I waved her off. "Drive yourself, doctor. And send the ambulance for the mess you left behind last time." As we peeled out of the garage, baby bundled against me, Ethan chattering nervously about names, calling him Junior, like nothing had shattered. I gripped the wheel tighter. This was round 2, and I wasn't playing nice. The revenge? It started with a single email, forwarded from my hidden draft folder. Every incriminating receipt, every love note, every wire transfer. Sent not to the cops. Too clean, but to his managing partner, with a subject line: "Family values at Blackwell and Sons." By dawn, as the city woke to gray slush and black coffee, Ethan's phone exploded with calls. He paced our condo kitchen, the lake view mocking his unraveling empire, while I nursed our son, my son, in the rocker, humming a lullaby laced with poison. "What's wrong, babe?" I cooed, all wide-eyed innocence. "Fuck, it's the firm. They want me in. Now." He raked hands through his hair, the same hands that had once traced my spine in promises. I smiled, slow and serpentine. Must be that bonus they promised. Or the audit. His eyes snapped to mine, dawning realization flickering like a shorted wire.
You. How?
Women's intuition. I lied, rising to hand him the baby. Hold your son while I make coffee. Black. 2 sugars, no cream. You're going to need it. He took the bundle awkwardly, cooing platitudes, but I saw the crack. The man who'd abandoned me to die, now cradling the evidence of his failures. As he left for the office, Ty Askew, I pulled up the Cayman app on my laptop, hacked via a dark web tutorial I devoured in the void. One transfer, $500,000 back to the firm, anonymous, with a note, from a concerned wife. The day blurred into a tense symphony. Ethan called hourly, voice fraying, interrogations, frozen assets, Lauren hauled in for questioning. It's bullshit, Nora. Some hacker. Or some betrayed bitch. I murmured to the empty room, but loud enough for the line.
Click.
By afternoon, detectives knocked, badges gleaming like karma. I played the part. Shocked homemaker, loyal wife. Tears on cue as I handed over found documents from his desk drawer. Printouts I'd forged in my mind's eye. Timestamps perfect. You're doing the right thing, Mrs. Hayes, the lead said, a grizzled vet named Kowalski with a Polish lilt. Embezzlement's bad, but aiding and abetting? That's federal. I nodded, clutching a mug of untouched tea. I just want what's best for my family. My family. The baby gurgled from his bassinet, oblivious, his tiny fists a promise of futures unruined. Ethan came home in cuffs at dusk, the doorman's gasp echoing down the hall. Lauren followed in spirit, her clinic shuttered, her license suspended pending investigation. He begged in the foyer, on his knees amid scattered toys I'd never unpacked last time. Nora, please. For the baby. I love you.
Love.
The word curdled. You love the idea of me. The perfect cover.
But I see you now, Ethan.
All of you. I stepped over him, dialing my lawyer. The one I'd retained in secret, billing to a slush fund I'd skimmed from our joint account weeks ago, pre-birth. Divorce papers served by midnight. Assets frozen, custody battle looming. He howled from the guest room, but I slept like the dead, peacefully, for the first time. Weeks turned to a gritty grind. Chicago winter bit hard, wind off the lake whipping my coat as I pushed the stroller through Lincoln Park, the baby's laughter a balm on frostbitten days. The firm sued Ethan civilly, recouping millions. Lauren flipped, testifying for immunity, her tearful confessions splashed across the trib. I was in love. I didn't think. You didn't think about the woman bleeding out in a parking garage. I wanted to scream at the TV. But I didn't. I channeled it into the blog I'd started anonymously. Wives of Wall Street, anonymous rants on corporate betrayal, infidelity stats climbing like SEO keywords. It went viral, op-eds in the Sun-Times, podcast invites I declined. Power, real and raw, coursed through my veins, better than any epidural. Ethan's trial loomed in spring, a circus of suits and subpoenas. He wrote letters from Cook County Jail, pleading redemption, promising therapy, a fresh start. I burned them in the fireplace, ashes swirling like confetti at a funeral we'd never had. But revenge isn't linear. It's a boomerang. One humid June evening, as I sipped rose on the balcony, condo mine now, per the settlement, a knock rattled the door. Not cops. A woman, mid-40s, sharp bob and sharper eyes, clutching a manila envelope. Mrs. Hayes? I'm Victoria Lang from the DOJ. We need to talk about your husband. Not ex-husband yet. The divorce dragged, tangled in asset fights. I ushered her in, baby napping in his room, painted like blue. Over herbal tea, caffeine was for the weak, she laid it out. Ethan's embezzlement wasn't solo. A ring, feeding corrupt politicians, kickbacks from city contracts. My anonymous transfer? It had flagged their radar, traced back through blockchain crumbs I'd overlooked. You knew, she said, not accusing, probing. And you acted. Guilt flickered, but I quashed it. A wife protects her own. She nodded, sliding photos across the table. Ethan in a hotel suite with councilmen, Lauren counting cash. We need your testimony. Full immunity, of course. But it's big, Nora. RICO level. You in. The controversial choice. Testify, drag our filth into the light, risk the baby's face on CNN? Or walk away, let karma limp along? I stared at the lake, freighters crawling like guilty secrets. Ethan had left me to die. This was my resurrection. I'm in, I said, voice steady, but on my terms. The months blurred into depositions and dread. I hired a nanny, trusted, vetted, a no-nonsense Jamaican grandma type named Miss Etta, and dove into prep sessions, memorizing timelines, practicing my devastated but determined face. Blog traffic exploded, sponsors trickled in, enough for a down payment on a brownstone in Uptown. Independence tasted like steel-cut oats and spite. Ethan's lawyer tried to paint me as the villain, vengeful harpy, planting evidence. In a closed hearing, he cornered me on the stand. You hated him enough to frame him, didn't you, Mrs. Hayes? Admit it, that rebirth fantasy you blog about? It's delusion. The room tensed, air thick as jury box whispers. Rebirth. I'd slipped it into a post, metaphorical, but here it hung like a noose. I leaned forward, mic catching every syllable. Hate? No, Mr. Reynolds. I pitied him. The man who left his pregnant wife in a car to die alone? That's not a husband. That's a coward. And cowards confess. Gasps rippled. The judge banged her gavel. But the seed was planted. Doubt in the defense. Headlines screaming, Blackwell bombshell. Wife's ordeal fuels fraud probe. Climax hit in October. Trials fever pitch. Federal courthouse downtown. Security thicker than mag-mile crowds. I took the stand in a tailored navy suit. Power color. Chin up. Facing Ethan across the well. He looked hollowed. Orange jumpsuit clashing with his once-tailored tan. Eyes pleading as I recounted the night. Rain, pain, abandonment. No gore, just the emotional gut punch. The baby's first cry echoing in an empty garage. Then the twist. Kowalski, my old detective pal, took the mic. Exhibit 47. Audio recording, recovered from Mrs. Hayes' vehicle. My heart stuttered. I'd forgotten, or had I? The dash cam, auto-activated by motion, capturing not just my labor but Ethan's parting words as he fled. Fuck, Lauren's waiting. I can't deal with this shit now. The jury recoiled. Ethan buried his face. But Kowalski wasn't done. And one more, Your Honor. From Mr. Hayes' phone, timestamped 10:50 p.m. A voicemail to Lauren. Babe, Nora's in labor, but it's not stopping us. Meet me after. I've got the transfer ready. We're free.
Free.
The word-eyed whispered in death. Chaos erupted. Objections, sidebar. Ethan's sob choking the air. Victoria leaned in post-recess. That wasn't on our list.
How?
I shrugged, a Mona Lisa smile. Intuition. Truth. In the void, I'd memorized his passcode, his habits. Pre-birth, I'd cloned his phone, stashing files like buried mines. Controversial? Hell yes. Illegal wiretap. Entrapment whispers from the bench. But the judge let it stand. Prejudicial, but probative. Verdict dropped like a guillotine. Guilty on all counts, 25 to life. Lauren got 10, plea deal. As marshals hauled him away, Ethan lunged toward the rail, chains rattling.
Nora.
The baby, our son. Don't poison him against me. I stood, baby on my hip, now 6 months, chubby-cheeked cherub with my eyes. His name's Liam. And he's mine. The gallery erupted. Flashbulbs popped like gunfire. Outside, rain slicked the steps, but I didn't flinch. Victoria clasped my shoulder. You did good.
Clean slate now. Clean?
Scars lingered, nights jolting awake, phantom contractions, therapy bills stacking like indictments. But as I buckled Liam into the new hybrid, practical, mine, I felt it. Victory's sharp tang. Twist came unbidden, a month later. A letter, postmarked from a women's prison in Dwight. Not Ethan's scrawl, but Lauren's flowery and fractured. I write not for forgiveness, but truth. The baby, Liam, isn't his. Or yours, not fully. That Vegas lapse? It was me, Nora. A setup. Ethan paid me to seduce you, to trap you in shame, keep you leashed while he built his empire. But the real secret? The money wasn't for coke. It was for us to run away. You were collateral. Collateral. The word I'd been. Rage boiled, but cooled to clarity. I'd known the infidelity lie, weaponized it. But this? A deeper rot. I burned the letter, ashes to wind, and called Miss Etta for a sitter. That night, I drove to the lakefront, Liam asleep in his carrier. Waves crashed, mirroring my pulse. Controversial decision numero dos. Mercy or madness. I pulled up the blog, fingers flying. Reborn, a mother's manifesto. No names, but truths veiled thin. Betrayal's blueprint, how to spot the wolves in sheepskins. It trended overnight. TED Talk offers flooding in.
Ethan?
He hung himself in his cell 3 weeks later, note pinned to the sheet. She won. Fair and square. The papers called it tragedy. I called it closure. Liam's first birthday dawned crisp, autumn leaves carpeting the brownstone stoop. Miss Etta baked a carrot cake. Victoria crashed with bootleg Prosecco. Even Kowalski showed with a stuffed bear bigger than the kid. Laughter filled the rooms I'd painted myself. Yellows and blues, no shadows. As I lit the single candle, Liam's gummy grin beaming, I whispered to the void that birthed me. Thanks for the do-over. No ghosts haunted us. Just futures, forged in fire and forgiveness. Not for them, but for me. And in the quiet after, as the city hummed beyond, I knew, rebirth isn't revenge's end. It's the spark that lights your own damn way. My husband left me in the car while I was giving birth. He didn't expect what awaited him after, continued. No, that wasn't the end. Rebirth, I'd learned, was a bitch with sequels. Liam's second birthday loomed like a checkpoint. 2 years since the garage, 18 months since Ethan's suicide. The official story, anyway. Autopsies said ligature, but whispers in the prison grapevine hinted at assisted. A guard with a grudge and a payout from anonymous sources. I didn't ask. Karma's got its own HR department. Life had settled into a rhythm. Mornings with sippy cups and story time at the Uptown Library. Afternoons freelancing logos for startups. Quick cash, no bosses breathing down my neck. The blog evolved into a podcast, Unshackled Wives, sponsored by divorce attorneys and self-defense classes. Listeners devoured episodes like The Parking Lot Pivot, When Betrayal Births Strength, my voice steady, anecdotes anonymized but laced with that night's raw edge. Royalties trickled enough for Liam's Montessori tuition, a rainy day fund, and the occasional mani-pedi to scrape off the jailhouse grime that clung like psychic residue. But secrets, like weeds, push through concrete. It started with a DM on X, formerly Twitter, because who has time for rebrands when you're dodging X-drama? At Shadow Firm Whistle. Nora Hayes? You exposed BNS, but the rot goes deeper.
Meet?
Coffee, the Wiener Circle, noon tomorrow. Come alone. I stared at the screen over Liam's bedtime bottle, heart kicking like a missed contraction. The Wiener Circle, iconic hot dog joint in Lincoln Park, famous for drag queen roasts and post-bar brawls. Sketchy, but bold. I replied. Blue wig. Ask for Karen. Anonymity's my jam now. Next day, I dropped Liam with Miss Etta, threw on oversized sunnies and a Cubs hoodie, blending like a pro. The joint reeked of charred beef and fryer grease, a line snaking out the door despite the chill. I ordered a dog all the way, extra sport peppers for the burn, and claimed a corner booth. She slid in opposite, mid-30s, pixie cut dyed electric blue to match, laptop bag slung like armor. Karen? I'm Jax. Ex-paralegal at Blackwell. You? I bid into the dog. Onions crunching. The ghost who haunts their dreams. She snorted, pulling up a folder. Ghosts don't get doxxed. Ethan's death? Not suicide. Firm higher-ups offed him. Loose end after you flipped the script. But here's the kicker. The ring? It's alive. New players, laundering through real estate now. Your old condo? Ground zero. My forkful paused midair. The Streeterville high-rise, lake views I'd fought for in divorce court. Sold it last year for steal, market dip, they said. Now? Jax tapped keys, screen blooming with blueprints. Luxury condos masking shell companies, Russian oligarch ties, bribes to zoning boards. Why me? I asked, wiping mustard from my lip. Because you torched it once. And because Lauren's talking from solitary. Says you knew more than you let on. That void bullshit in your pod? She's calling it a cover for witness tampering. Lauren. The snake's still slithering. Her plea deal crumbled post-Ethan. She sang to the feds for a reduced sentence, but grudges fester. If she pinned dirty tricks on me. I leaned in, voice low. What do you want?
Alliance.
Hack their servers. Expose the new web. You're the face, I'm the fangs. Controversial? Teaming with a rogue hacker in a hot dog dive, risking custody, my clean slate? But the alternative, silence, as the rot spread, tainting Liam's Chicago?
No. In.
But we do it clean. No bodies. Jax grinned, feral. Clean's boring. But deal. That night, paranoia peaked. I triple-checked locks, installed a ring cam. Overkill, but sleep came fitful, dreams of rain-slicked garages morphing into server rooms ablaze. Morning brought normalcy. Liam's sticky kisses, playground swings under slate skies. But by nap time, I was deep in Jax's Dropbox, emails coded as view condos, attachments heavy with wire fraud. Ethan's ghost loomed largest in the files, a memo from 2022, pre-baby, outlining the pivot. Post-partnership, shift to Ari. Nora's pregnancy buys time. Sympathy play. He'd planned to flip the condo, launder proceeds, vanish with Lauren to Ibiza. Me and the bump. Dead weight, literally. Rage recycled into resolve. I met Jax at a hacker bar in Wicker Park, neon signs flickering bite me. Craft IPAs flowing. Over flat screens streaming Bulls reruns, she walked me through the op, fishing the property manager, me as bait with a prospective buyer, alias. My cover? Grieving widow scouting upgrades. The sting went sideways fast. Posing as Elena Voss, I toured the old condo, gutted, gleaming, ghosts in the grout. The agent, a slick millennial named Trent with veneers like piano keys, droned specs while I palmed his phone during a powder room break. Jax remote wiped it en route, but not before sirens wailed, cops swarming the lobby. Freeze.
FBI.
Trent bolted. I didn't. Hands up, heart hammering, I faced Kowalski. Older, grayer, but that same Polish squint. Nora Hayes. Stirring shit again. Always, I quipped, cuffs clicking. Coffee first. Interrogation room smelled of stale Joe and regret. Victoria paced outside the glass, her protege grilling me. Trespassing? Theft. You're looking at charges. I cross legs, calm as Lake Michigan on glass day. Call it journalism. And check the thumb drive in my bra. Server logs, fresh. He flushed, averting eyes as she retrieved it. Victoria burst in minutes later, eyes alight. It's gold. Offshore links to Moscow. Bribes to Alderman Ruiz. But Nora, this implicates you. Forged docs from the divorce. Timestamps matching Ethan's suicide payout. The boomerang again. My anonymous funds? Traced to a slush Jax had unknowingly pinged. Controversial crossroads. Rat Jax, save skin? Or double down? Drag the whole web?
Fuck it, I said.
Full disclosure. But immunity for the kid.
Deal stanse till dawn.
Jax got nabbed in a dawn raid. Wicker Park walk-up. Laptop smoking, but flipped like Lauren, testifying to the Ari ring. Trent, the fall guy, singing for leniency.
Ruiz, addicted, headline all-in corruption condo collapse. Me?
Witness protection whispers, but I balked. Chicago's my blood. Relocate?
Nah.
Instead, a quiet pardon. Community service teaching cyber safety at women's shelters, podcast on indefinite hiatus. Liam turned 3 amid the fallout, cake smeared on chubby cheeks, Miss Edda's hymns warding off the world's wolves. Victoria became Mandvik, spoiling him with law books too big for tiny hands. Kowalski? Godfather material, gruff bear hugs at barbecues. But the real twist slithered in summer swelter. A package, unmarked, on the brownstone stoop. Manila envelope, single photo inside. Me. In the garage that night. Reborn gasp captured on hospital's CCTV I'd forgotten to scrub. Scribbled note. Second chances cost. Who's watching the watcher?
Elle.
Lauren. Out on parole, her 10 years halved by snitching. She'd hacked the hack, or bought a mole. The threat hung, subtle as a noose. I didn't panic. Rebirth taught adaptation. I hired private security, discreet, ex-fed, and reached out through back channels. A sit-down, neutral ground, the gauge in the loop, power lunch spot for dealmakers. She arrived gaunt, prison ink peeking from cuffs, eyes hollow but hateful.
Nora.
Come to gloat. Closure, I said, signaling the waiter. Club soda for her, mimosa for me. The photo? Childish. We're past playground games. She sneered, stirring her fizz. Past? You stole everything. Ethan was mine first college, remember? You were the rebound, the safe choice. Safe. The word stung anew. And you were the thrill. But leaving me to die, that's not love. That's murder. Her laugh cracked.
He panicked.
Coke, stress, the firm. I begged him to go back. Lies, but I let it slide. What's the ask? Money? Silence. Truth. She slid a USB across linen. Ethan's real journal. Not the sanitized one you burned. Read it. Then decide if your happy ending holds. I pocketed it, lunch ending in brittle toasts. Home Liam napping I plugged in. Entries scrolled. Ethan's descent, my clinginess post-Vegas. Lauren's seduction plot confirmed. $10K to spike my drink at that conference mixer. But deeper. Regret, raw. Nora's light in the dark. If not for the money, I'd stay. For her. For us. Tears blurred the screen. Betrayal's bastard child, grief. He'd loved me, twisted as kudzu. The final entry post-arrest. If I die, tell her. Garage was cowardice, not contempt. Protect our boy. Our boy. Liam, DNA, be damned. I confronted Lauren via text. Journals ash now. But thanks for the humanity. No reply. Days later, news pinged. Her accident. Car hydroplaning into the Calumet. Suicide or shove. Investigations pending. Karma's HR, overtime. Liam's laughter pulled me back. Park swings creaking in fall breeze. No more ghosts. Just us, unbreakable. Rebirth? Not a curse, but a canvas. Paint bold, no apologies. My husband left me in the car while I was giving birth. He didn't expect what awaited him after. Continued. For years post-garage, and Chicago had softened its edges for me. Liam, now a whirlwind of 4-year-old energy, dominated our uptown brownstone with Lego empires and demands for one more story, mama. The podcast relaunched as Echoes of Exit, focusing on exit strategies, not just divorce, but life's pivots, career shifts, relocations, reinventions. Guests ranged from ex-cons turned chefs to whistleblowers penning memoirs. My ratings climbed, enough for a book deal in the works, ghostwritten by a wry editor from Brooklyn who got the Midwestern grit. Security lingered like a bad habit. Cameras a Glock in the nightstand. Range time monthly, Miss Edda's eye rolls notwithstanding. Lauren's accident closed as misadventure, but I slept lighter, doors double-bolted. Victoria's promotions kept her looped in. Rings dismantled, Nora. Oligarchs fleeing like rats.
Good.
But trust? That's a luxury for the unwounded. The next fracture cracked open at a book launch in River North. My advance party, schmoozers in Lululemon mingling with ink-stained journos. Jax, out on probation, showed uninvited. Blue hair faded to teal, tattoo sleeves peeking from a blazer. Missed you in the credits, she quipped, clinking her mocktail to my gin. Clean break, I replied, scanning for tails. You good? Teaching code at community college. Irony, right? Her grin faded. But heads up, Ethan's brother, Marcus? He's sniffing. Thinks you drove Ethan to it. Inheritance beef. Condo sale proceeds he claims were his cut. Marcus. The forgotten sibling, Atlanta-based venture capitalist, silver spoon to Ethan's gold. Weddings and Thanksgivings glossed over his resentment, Ethan's success, eclipsing his startup's flops. Last I'd seen him. Funeral I skipped, ashes scattered sans me. Let him sniff, I said, but unease coiled. Marcus had resources, private eyes, lawyers sharper than Trent's veneers. It escalated swift. Emails first, polite probes. Nora, family chat? For Liam's sake. Then calls blocked. Finally, a courier at dawn. Summons for custody review. Unfit mother, history of delusional claims, potential endangerment via criminal associations. Delusional. The blog's rebirth metaphor, twisted into psych eval fodder. I called Victoria, voice steel. Pull strings. Now. She did, but the hearing loomed. Family court in the Daily Center. Marble halls echoing like Judgment Day. Prep was brutal. Therapists vouching stability. Miss Edda's affidavits on my exemplary parenting. Kowalski dug dirt on Marcus. Divorced twice. DUIs thrice. A mistress suit hushed with NDAs. Court day dawned drizzly. Liam with Edda, me in armor. Pencil skirt. Pearls from our annulled vows. Marcus strutted in, Armani suit, shark smile, his lawyer a bulldog from Skokie. Opening salvos flew. My obsessive security, podcast glorifying trauma. Jax's association as red flag. I took the stand, pulse steady under fluorescence. Mr. Hayes wants custody to punish, not protect. Liam's my world. His first steps, his fevers at 2 a.m. Marcus? Last saw the boy at 2, sent a drone for Christmas. Toys over time. Murmurs rippled. The judge, a no-nonsense black woman named Rivera, arched a brow at Marcus. Rebuttal. He puffed, voice oiled. Nora's unstable. That death story she peddles, hallucinations from postpartum? And the money. She profited off Ethan's ruin. Profited. The word ignited. Ethan ruined himself, Marcus. Embezzlement, abandonment, I survived. Liam thrives. You? Building empires on daddy's dime while your brothers bled dry. Rivera Bank, Council, Relevance. But the seed sprouted. Cross-X, Marcus cracked, snarls about Ethan's weakness for bitches like you. Off mic, but recorded. Mistrial whispers, his lawyer folded, settlement. Supervised visits, or none. Outside, rain sheeting the loop. Marcus cornered me under the awning. This ain't over, Nora. Ethan's blood. Liam's mine by right. Blood. I stepped close, breath fogging. You mean the kind he spilled leaving me? Or the kind you share with cheats and cowards? Walk away, Marcus. Or join them in the void. He recoiled, but eyes promised war. I Ubered home, hands shaking, not fear, fury's afterburn. The counterstrike brewed over bourbon nights, Liam's bedtime tales turning tactical fables. David versus Goliath, updated with VPNs. Jax looped back, probation be damned. Marcus's VC firm?
Dirty.
Crypto scams, targeting widows, your demo. Widows. The irony bit. We mapped it. Leaks to SEC, timed for his next funding round. Controversial?
Black hat ethics, vigilante vibes.
But when a test run tanked a small fries IPO, widow investor reimbursed anonymously, I slept sounder. Marcus's downfall dominoed. Headlines and cranes. Hayes Ventures implodes amid fraud allegations. He vanished to Cayman, ironic exile, leaving voicemails. Truce, Nora. For the family. Family. The words poison purged. I deleted, blocked, breathed free. Liam's 5th birthday marked the pivot. A party at the zoo, giraffes looming like gentle giants, kids shrieking at the monkey house. Victoria brought a cake iced with scales, Justice Bunny. Kowalski grilled brats. Jax demoed drone races with the Rugrats. No shadows. Just sun-dappled joy, Liam's whoops as he fed peanuts to elephants. But twists, like bad pennies, return. Post-party, a call from an unknown. Mrs. Hayes? Dr. Elena Voss, psych consult, court-ordered follow-up. Marcus's parting shot, psych eval to reopen custody. I laughed into the receiver. Schedule it. But fair warning, I don't break. The eval was a minefield. Downtown office, leather couch. Dr. Voss a cool cucumber with a Yale lilt. Probing questions, rebirth dreams? Abandonment rage? Processing trauma healthily? Healthily? I echoed, leaning forward. I turned poison to power. Podcast, book, Raising a King. Trauma's not a scar. It's scar tissue, stronger. She nodded, pen scratching. Resilient. But the void. Care to elaborate? Truth time or tall tale? I chose hybrid. A near-death clarity. Saw the strings, cut them. Ethan's mess? Lauren's lies? I rewove the web without them. Her eyes sharpened. Metaphorical rebirth? Literally in my head.
Wink.
She bought it or pretended. Report ceiling. Stable, exemplary. Victory lap. Book launched 2. Reborn threads. Weaving life after betrayal. Sold out at Seminary Co-op. Fans queuing for signatures. Liam doodling on napkins nearby. Marcus's ghost? Faded facts. Yet the deepest twist unfurled in quiet. Liam, age 6, drawing at the kitchen table. Crayon chaos of a car in rain. Mommy smiling fierce. What's this, bug? You, he said, matter of fact. Strong like superheroes. Daddy was bad, but you fixed it.
Daddy.
The word I'd softened to Uncle Ethan. Fairy tales of faraway mistakes. But kids intuit like reborn moms. I hugged him, tears hot. We fixed it together. That night, balcony vigil, city lights winking complicity, I toasted the void. One more loop?
Nah.
This one's mine. Rebirth's not a cycle. It's a spiral, upward, scarred but soaring. My husband left me in the car while I was giving birth. He didn't expect what awaited him after, continued. 7 years since the rain-soaked reset, and I'd morphed from victim to vanguard. The book spawned a TEDx talk, Dying to Live, Betrayal's Unexpected Gift, views cresting 1 million, invites to Davos whispers I swatted like gnats. Liam, lanky at 7, ace chess club and begged for coding lessons from Aunt Jax, now a legit cybersecurity prophet UIC, her blue streak silver to wisdom. Our brownstone? A hub. Book club for battered spouses upstairs, podcast studio in the basement, Miss Edda's jerk chicken wafting like home's perfume. Security? Paranoia evolved to precaution. Annual sweeps, a burner for deep dives. Marcus's silence stretched. Exile suited him, or so the tabloids claimed. Disgraced VC reinvents in rum. Good riddance. But Chicago's underbelly stirs slow. It bubbled up at a gala. Women in Justice fundraiser, Gold Coast Hotel dripping chandeliers and Chardonnay. I keynote, voice carrying over clinks. Justice isn't blind. It's a mirror. Reflect the rot and rebuild. Applause thundered. Then, a hand on my elbow post-speech. Male, manicured, cologne like old money. Inspiring Ms. Hayes. Councilman Ruiz, out on appeal, thanks to new evidence.
Ruiz.
The alderman Ethan greased, indicted but slippery. Graying temples, suit cut Italian, smile all teeth. Heard your talk. Betrayal, huh? Rings bells. Ice trickled my spine. Bells toll for the guilty, councilman. Enjoy the canapes. He chuckled, card pressed into my palm, embossed with a scrawled note. Drinks? Truths to share. I pocketed it, but unease lingered like cigar smoke. Home, Liam Abed, I scanned the card under lamplight. Back. Coordinates, a Gold Coast speakeasy. Jax's text pinged simultaneous. Ruiz paroled. Talking to feds, your name dropped. Key witness, withheld exculpatory. Withheld. The journal, Ethan's regrets, burned but backed up in my cloud. A digital phoenix. I dangled snippets to Victoria pre-trial, framing Ethan's solo. But if Ruiz's lawyer subpoenaed, controversial calculus, meet him, gauge the threat, or ghost, let the hounds bay? I chose the wolf's den, wired for sound, Jax's nanomic, sewn into my clutch. The speakeasy hummed prohibition chic, velvet booths, jazz humming low. Ruiz waited in a corner banquette, scotch neat, eyes appraising.
Nora. Seek.
Scotch? Or wine? For the delicate? Water, I said, sliding in. Talk. Blunt as a shiv. He leaned, breath boozy. Ethan's journal. You buried it, his love for you. Painting him redeemable. Cost my case. Perjury. Tampering? Bluff called. Fiction. Burned originals. And you? Bribes for condos that housed traffic girls. Ethan's view hid horrors. His laugh barked. Proof? Or haze hysteria? I tapped play on my phone, subtle. Ethan's voice, journal entry. Ruiz takes 20% on the builds. Girls in basements, discreet staffing. Can't touch it, or we're sunk. Ruiz's face ashen. The mic caught his gasp. Blackmail, he hissed. Justice, I countered. Feds get the full file tomorrow. Unless you resign. Quietly. He drained his glass, veins bulging. You think you're untouchable? Marcus sends regards. Funded my appeal. Family sticks. Marcus. The Hydra head. I rose, cool. Family's fracture. Good night, councilman. Outside, valet summoning, tires screeched, a black SUV, tinted, lunging curb.
I dove, skirt tripping, arm blaring panic.
Pedestrian screamed, the vehicle fishtailed, vanishing into traffic. Heart jackhammering, I hailed a cab, Jax's voice crackling earbud. Got plates. Stolen. Ruiz's play. Or Marcus's puppet. Home. Liam's nightlight glow steadied me. I bundled him close, fairy lights warding wolves. Dawn brought raids. Ruiz's loop office, feds swarming like ants on syrup. His resignation hit by noon, health reasons. But Marcus? A call from Kowalski, retired but nosy. Your brother-in-law's in town.
O her manifesti.
Armed security. The confrontation brewed inevitable. I baited with a blog post. Old ghosts, new games, when vengeance visits. Views spiked, Marcus bit, email. Park, noon.
No caps.
Grant Park, Picasso's statue brooding under noon sun. Tourists milling oblivious. He approached in chinos, polo crisp, country club casual masking venom.
Nora.
Grown claws. Blades. I corrected, hands loose. Liam's off limits. Resign from whatever shadow board you're puppeteering. He smirked, circling slow. Ethan's mess? Water under. But you, profiting off his corpse? That's theft.
Theft.
Laughter bubbled bitter. Like siphoning his inheritance for your scams? Or funding hits on ex-sisters-in-law? His eyes narrowed.
Ruiz exagerated.
Heat of the moment. Moments over. I held up my phone live stream to Victoria, Jack's monitoring. Confess. The ring, the attempts. Or it airs. Bluff. Half. He lunged, hand snatching. Wrestle for the device. Grunts amid Picasso's gaze. A knee to his gut. Self-defense class payoff. He wheezed, dropping. Security melted from benches. Kowalski's retirement crew. Badges flashing. Game over, Marcus. I panted, device secure.
Fait en route.
He spat grass, defeated. For Liam. He's Hayes' blood. Blood's earned, I said, turning. Not inherited. The sweep netted it all. Marcus's ledgers, ties to Ruiz's remnants, even Lauren's offshore trickle, posthumous. Plea deals crumbled. Supermax for him. Life without for the architects. Climax echoed the first. Rain that night. Lashing windows as I tucked Liam. Story of the brave mama and the shadow men. He yawned. You win again? Always bug. Kiss to forehead, out. Twist's final flourish, a letter. Marcus's cell, pre-sentencing. You were right. Blood's earned. Raise him strong. Tell him Uncle Mark says sorry. Burned, like Ethan's closure's pyre. Years blurred. Liam's teens, chess tourneys in Milwaukee, my keynotes in DC. The garage? A scar, faded tattoo. Rebirth's gift, not vengeance eternal, but vigilance vital. In the end, happy, jagged-edged, I stood lakefront, Liam's hand in mine, waves whispering enough. No voids left, just vast, victorious now.